Hare Krishna, dear devotees. We'll start today with the Śrī Īśopaniṣad's mantra 4. Om Jnanatimirandasya Gnananjanashalakaya Chakshuruन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपा कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदन्तिकं वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगणरघुनाथानुतं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधाकृष्णपादान् सहगणललिता श्रीविशाखानुतांश्च हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधु जगतपते गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमोस्तुते तप्त कांचन गौरांगी श्री राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्येव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधारा श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामिनिति नामिने नमस्ते सारस्वती देवी गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशधारिणे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधार श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। गं करोति वाचालं पङ्गुं गङ्गायतगिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे श्रीगुरुदीनतारिणं परमानन्दमाधवं श्रीचैतन्यस्वामिनं। Hare Krishna. So we'll start the session now. Let me share my screen. We'll start with session. We'll start mantra 4 today. One second, just adjusting the views. Okay. Are you all able to see my screen?
Yes, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
You
Okay.
should for
Yeah. So would anybody like to recite? Yeah, let me know if you would like to recite, otherwise I can start and then somebody else can read it. Okay, so Īśopaniṣad, verse 4. You want to read, Prabhu?
you want to go with this four?
Yeah.
Okay.
So you can read the shloka and then.
Anejat ekam manaso jvatyo nainad deva apnuvan purvam arshat tad daivato anya anyayan akcheti sthit stithat tasminin apo mat matariswa dadati.
If anybody else would like to recite? Okay, I can pass it. अनेजदेकं मनसो जवीयो नयनाद्देवा अप्नुवान् पूर्वमर्षात् तद्धवातो अन्ययान् अत्येति तिष्ठात् तस्मिन् अपोमात् तरिष्वदधाति. Synonyms: anejat, fixed; ekam, one; manasaha, than the mind; javayah, Javiyaha, more swift; na, not; Enath, the supreme lord; Devaha, the demigods like Indra, etc. Apnuvan, can approach; Purvam, in front; Arshat, moving quickly; Tat, he; Dhavataha, those who are running; Anyan, others; Atyeti, surpasses; Tishthat, remaining in one place; Tasmin, in him; Apaha, rain; Matar, Matar, Matarishva, the gods who control the wind and rain; Dadhati, supply. Anybody wants to read translation?
I can read.
Yeah.
The personality of Godhead, sorry. But yeah. Although fixed in his abode, the personality of Godhead is swifter than the mind and can overcome all others running. The powerful demigods cannot approach him. Although in one place he controls those who supply the air and rain, He surpasses all in excellence. Should I read the purport also?
Go for it.
Purport. Through mental speculation, even the greatest philosopher cannot know the Supreme God, who is the absolute personality of Godhead. He can be known only by his devotees through his mercy. In the Brahma Samhita 5.34, it is stated that even if a non devotee philosopher travels through space at the speed of the wind or the mind for hundreds of millions of years, he will still find the absolute truth is far, far away from him. The Brahma Samhita 5.37 further describes that the absolute personality of Godhead has his transcendental abode known as Goloka, where he remains and engages in his pastimes. Yet, by his inconceivable potencies, he can simultaneously reach every part of his creative energy. In the Vishnu Purana, his potencies are compared to the heat and light that emanate from a fire. Although situated in one place, a fire can distribute its light and heat from some distance. Similarly, the absolute personality of Godhead, although fixed in his transcendental abode, can diffuse his different energies everywhere. Although his energies are innumerable, they can be divided into three principal categories: the internal potency, the marginal potency, and the external potency. There are hundreds and millions of subheadings to each of these categories. The dominating demigods who are empowered to control and administer such natural phenomena as air, light, and rain are all classified within the marginal potency of the absolute person. Lesser living beings, including humans, also belong to the Lord's marginal potency. The material world is the creation of the Lord's external potency, and the spiritual sky, where the kingdom of God is situated, is the manifestation of his internal potency.
Thank you. I think somebody else can take that.
Amma, open.
Mahesh Prabhuji, you want to read
I
in this one?
oh,
Yeah, go ahead. You're right, Mataji, go ahead.
one
This
second.
paragraph.
That's the difference. One second. Speaker. One second, Prabhu. Yeah. Thus, the different energies of the Lord are present everywhere. Although the Lord and his energies are non different, one should not mistake these energies for the Supreme Truth. Nor should one wrongly consider that the Supreme Lord is distributed everywhere impersonally, or that he loses his personal existence. Men are accustomed to reaching conclusions according to their capacity for understanding, but the Supreme Lord is not subject to our limited capacity for understanding. It is for this reason that the Upanishads warn us that no one can approach the Lord by his own limited potency. In Bhagavad Gita 10.2, the Lord says that not even the great rishis and suras can know him. And what to speak of the asuras, for whom there is no question of understanding the ways of the Lord. The fourth mantra of Śrī Īśopaniṣad very clearly suggests that the absolute truth is ultimately the absolute person. Otherwise, there would have been no need to mention so many details in support of his personal feature. Should I continue, Prabhu?
One more paragraph for you.
Yeah. Although the individual parts and parcels of the Lord's potencies have all the symptoms of the Lord Himself, they have limited spheres of activity and are therefore all limited. The parts and parcels are never equal to the whole. Therefore, they cannot appreciate the Lord's full potency. Under the influence of material nature, foolish and ignorant living beings who are but parts and parcels of the Lord try to conject conjure conjecture about the Lord's transcendental position. Sri Īśopaniṣad warns of the futility of trying to establish the identity of the Lord through mental speculation. One should try to learn of the transcendence from the Lord himself. The supreme source of the Vedas, for the Lord alone has full knowledge of the transcendence.
Thank you. Is my show available for reading? If not, I can read the rest. Every part and parcel of the complete whole is endowed with some particular energy to act according to the Lord's will. When the part and parcel living entity forgets his particular activities under the Lord's will, he is considered to be in Maya, illusion. Thus, from the very beginning, Śrī Īśopaniṣad warns us to be very careful to play the part designated for us by the Lord. This does not mean that the individual soul has no initiative of his own. Because he is part and parcel of the Lord, he must partake of the initiative of the Lord as well. When a person properly utilizes his initiative or active nature with intelligence, understanding that everything is the Lord's potency, he can revive his original consciousness, which was lost due to association with Maya, the external energy. All power is obtained from the Lord before each particular power it must be therefore each particular power must be utilized to execute the will of the Lord and not otherwise. The Lord can be known by anyone who has adopted such submissive service attitude. Perfect knowledge means knowing the Lord in all his features, knowing his potencies, and knowing how these potencies work by his will. These matters are described by the Lord in the Bhagavad Gita, the essence of all Upanishads. Hare Krishna. So take a pause here and wait for reflections. Anybody has any reflections based on what we read? Please feel free to share. Anybody would like to share?
I like that point, Prabhu, that how even there is no question for demons to understand at all,
Mm-hmm.
but only with the how everybody have thought about the impersonal form, and the Lord has so much of personal form information in our Vedas, and
Mm-hmm.
it doesn't take much effort to prove that. Still, there are people who believe in that impersonal form and hanging towards it. Uh,
Very true.
yeah, like
Sure. Any other reflections or comments, points?
To the point, Prabhu, I like one means my takeaway from this purport is so whoever is a non-devotee, like whatever he did, like whatever the activity or whatever powers he has, like a wind, he can faster than wind or doing something differently. But without devotee merits or devotional service, he cannot
Mm-hmm.
attain the adobe of Krishna Loka, that is Goloka.
Mm.
We need to continue with the devotional service and association of the devotees.
True. Very true.
This was
Anybody
somewhere
else?
I found here.
Yeah, in the beginning it was mentioning, yes. The absolute truth is far, far away from it, yes. Anybody else would like to share? Thoughts, reflections? All right, if no one else is speaking, I can share some of the reflections and thoughts that I had noted down while preparing for this class. So, in the previous verses that we have covered so far from different speakers from Śrī Īśopaniṣad, this has been the theme, like broadly, Śrī Īśopaniṣad, including the invocation, as 19. But if you exclude invocation, so it's about 18 prayers or mantras. And broadly, they'll classify into different categories of what is the essence of those group of mantras, right? So from mantra 1 to 3, it's said that it is discussing about how to live in harmony with Ishvara. So we talked about for example, in the invocation, we talked about the personality of Godhead is perfect and complete, and whatever emanations come, like the material universes and other things, they are also complete. So it doesn't mean that just because the universe emanated from the Supreme Lord, or something is less in him now. So that's not the case. So typically in our material world, whatever, if we give something what we have, it's gone from our quota, right? We don't own it anymore. But that's not true with the Supreme Lord. So he's complete and perfect at all times, irrespective of how many number of other things emanate from him. So the next mantra, as the mantra 1, we saw that everything animate and inanimate belongs in this universe, belongs and controls to the is controlled by the Supreme Lord himself. So one should not be greedy. They should only accept what is in their quota. So that was the focus of mantra 1. Then mantra 2, it talks about, some people desire, oh, I need to have a very, very long life. So, and they think that, that is goal of life. But if you look at it from a perspective of spiritual vision, the only time that makes sense, or that is a valid thing to aspire for, is if you live as per the injunctions of the Shastras. Otherwise, if you don't try to make your life perfect, there's no point in aspiring to live a longer life. As you know, this whole world is dukkhalayam and ashashvatam. So there's no point in trying to be in a miserable world for a long time, right? Then the mantra 3 that was discussed last couple of weeks back, there was a focus on it says about the killer of the soul. So whoever he may be must enter into the planets known as the worlds of faithless, full of darkness and ignorance. So we saw several examples of people who had transformed, like Mrighari example was given, where he was living a very, very sinful life, where he was, although a hunter, he was a different level of, what do you say, uh, in pain that he would inflict on the beings or the creatures that he would kill, right? So he would not only just kill the animal and hunt it, he would try to, basically torture it, and he would enjoy that. He would he would enjoy that thing in such a way that he really waited for that animal to be dead, and he was trying to fully enjoy the process. So from such a person to transforming into a devotee who is not even ready to stamp mistakenly on an ant, that is a huge transformation. So that is something that we learned from the previous mantra, right? So going back to the essence of the mantras, so from mantra 1 to 3, essentially we are seeing how to live in harmony with Ishvara. Then from mantra 4 to 8, that is from one that we saw today, on to the eighth one, right? So there we will learn about what is the true way to really see the Lord, Supreme Lord. So we may try to make endeavors through speculation, mental speculation, or through artificial means of, oh, I'll be able to see Supreme Lord if I do so and so technique, or if I follow so and so methodology, right? But Śrīla Prabhupada establishes through these 4 mantras from Śrī Īśopaniṣad that devotion is the only way, there's no other way that you can truly see the Supreme Lord. Right? So from mantra 4 to 8, the theme will be how to see the Lord, and devotion is that means that is being established in those 4 mantras. And from mantra 9 to 11, as you see in the future, this one, there is focus on correct and incorrect knowledge for understanding Ishvara. So we may have different methodologies, but it talks about what is the correct and incorrect. So mantra 12 to 14 talks about correct and incorrect worship of Ishvara. So once you know the correct and incorrect way of understanding Ishvara, then you should also know what is the correct and incorrect way of worshipping him. In the last 4 verses, 15 to 19, they are prayers of longing for Ishvara to reveal himself. So we start with knowing devotion is the only way. We establish that. Then we say what is the correct and incorrect understanding of how to understand Ishvara and how to worship him. And then finally, there are prayers that, okay, now that I've understood, now that I'm worshipping, there is a longing desire for the Jivatmas, to reveal, to pray to the Lord that please reveal yourself, right? Only by his mercy that we can get a chance to see the Supreme Lord, understand him as he is. And there is no other means by our endeavors, no matter how qualified we may be or how exalted we may be, we will not be able to understand the Supreme Lord. Then going by different, the purport and different sections of the purport, right? So it is clear that, there are some common themes that arrive out of that. The first thing that comes out of the purport is, it is Ishvara, or the Paramatma, the super soul, and the Supreme Lord, he is actually inconceivable in his nature. So one of the things that is very clear from the first paragraph is here, Prabhupada is clearly mentioning that if you are a devotee, okay, there is some path and some hope for you. But if you're a non-devotee and you're fully puffed up with your progress that you made in technology or science, and you're thinking that, okay, I'm going to design some spacecraft, or I'm going to design something that is going to travel so fast, I'll just escape the material creation and somehow make it through the spiritual world. That is, if they first of all have that knowledge that there is material world and spiritual world, right? But Sri Prabhupada is clearly telling that even if you travel with the speed of mind, there's actually no technology that does it today, and hopefully in the future as well, that you cannot be in one place and just mentally you can think of some place. Like, for example, if I'm here and you think of some place in India or someplace else, immediately you are there, right? There cannot be any technology, at least there is no technology right now there is, which can do faster than that. He's saying that if you're non-devotee and if you have something like this that you design, even then you keep on traveling, you will still be so far away from the absolute truth. There's no way you can reach it. So the artificial means of trying to reach the Supreme Lord in his abode through non-devotional path is completely ruled out in the first paragraph itself. Then talks about the limitations of mental speculation, right? So there we can see that, again, where people are thinking, oh, I'll adopt some other means and I'll make up some means of not trying to surrender to the Supreme Lord or follow the devotional path. I'll do something on my own and somehow I'll do it. That is also completely removed and discredited in the first paragraph itself. The next part is the different energies of the Supreme Lord that is explained. So primarily there are three energies. One is the internal energy, which is the Antaranga Shakti or Hladini Shakti. That is the energy that Supreme Lord is using to in the spiritual world. That is what is being used in the spiritual world. And then there is marginal potency or the Tatastha Shakti. Those are the Jivatmas. It's very interesting here that Srila Prabhupada in this purport is writing that even the demigods who are empowered to control and administer natural phenomena such as air, light, and rain, they are being classified into marginal potency. So where does that leave us? We are not even anywhere close to demigods or their power, whatever. We are very, very low in the hierarchy of the marginal entities. And what does that leave us with? So we can take a guess yourself. So that is the position of the marginal entity. They have got some free will, but the coming paragraph, Srila Prabhupada explains what to do with that. But marginal potency is one of the other potencies of the Supreme Lord. Then there is external potency, which is the potency that the Supreme Lord uses to create the material world. So within these three energies itself, there are thousands and thousands of categories and things that can be divided into, but very broadly, these are the three categories of energies from the Supreme Lord. Right now, that one thing that we may also notice here in the purport is Srila Prabhupada is saying that, okay, he's giving the example of the light and the heat that emanates from fire, right? So sometimes you might have seen if there is a fire somewhere a little bit far away also, you might see either the light coming if it is dark, or you might even experience some heat, right? In the same way, the Supreme Lord doesn't have to leave his abode. Like, he doesn't have to leave Vaikuntha, or he doesn't have to leave Golok Dham to perform some activity on his behalf. His energies are more than enough to take care of things. So that is a beautiful example Srila Prabhupada quotes, that he doesn't have to leave the place where he is. Like, for example, if I have to do some job in the office, I have to travel to the office, be there, try to finish it and come back. That's not the case with the Supreme Lord. He can be where he is, and his energies are more than qualified and enough to perform all the things that he intends to do. Just by his desire, things happen, right? Then the other thing that comes out of it is there is a quote of what is Maya, right? So as the living entities or the Jivatmas who have fallen, so a very good example that Srila Prabhupada quotes in other lectures about the definition of Maya is that which is not, right? So very, very simple definition. If somebody is not focusing his thoughts or his actions or his energy towards the service of Krishna, and he has turned it towards himself for sense gratification, then that person or that entity can be said to be in illusion, right? So in this context, how does it apply? So here what we understood is there are different energies of the Supreme Lord. Everything that we see, the capabilities that we have, or the skill set we may have, or whatever little free will that we have, which we think will exercise, is all because of the Supreme Lord's grace, mercy. right? So what is being told here is that with that small limited will that we have got, we should not be under the impression that, oh, now I can lord over it, or the material nature. No, that is not the real purpose of it. The intended purpose of you being given a free will is to make sure that you make it, or you dovetail that free will in the service of the Supreme Lord. So unless you're trying to do that, unless you're not trying to do that, you will suffer. You'll continue to suffer, and you'll be taking repeated births and deaths to learn the lesson, so to speak. Like, you're not supposed to misuse that free will and use it for the right purpose, right? So the other thing in the same category, which is coming around the same thing, is Srila Prabhupada warns us that through Śrī Īśopaniṣad, various other mantras here, that one should not resort to mental speculation. Like, I have the desire to understand the Supreme Lord, but then one should not resort to mental speculation. So what does it mean then? So we should not cook up some artificial mechanisms. Like, we know the examples Prabhupada quotes about Sahajiyas, right? So they directly jump to the topmost leelas or topmost pastimes of Krishna and Radha and the gopis, and they try to directly jump to that. They don't really know whether they're qualified or not before they try to mimic whatever their pastimes are, and that is completely disqualified, and it's not an authorized mechanism. So what Srila Prabhupada is encouraging through that is, stop mental speculation. Don't try to cook up something in your mind and try to understand the Supreme Lord. Instead, we should try to understand the Supreme Lord through the disciplic succession, the knowledge that comes through that, through the acharyas and our guru parampara, and learn from that. And they are also doing nothing that is out of the context. They are quoting everything that is in the shastras, right? So any sadhu who is, or a guru, is always abiding by what comes through the guru parampara. He's not adding something or he's removing something from that. Everything is just coming as it is, like what Srila Prabhupada gave the Bhagavad Gita, is as it is. That's why when people read Srila Prabhupada's Bhagavad Gita as it is, you see, thousands and thousands, now into millions, devotees becoming, over time they become devotees. But Bhagavad Gita has been there for a while. People have written many, many editions. Why didn't they become devotees? Because they did not represent the Lord as He is, or the teachings of the Lord as He is, as it is. So that is a very good takeaway, that we should never try to, speculate. Some very good examples I found were different levels of realizations. Whether one very nice example quoted by Srila Prabhupada was, he said that when first the Britishers introduced the steam engine in India, so there were a lot of villagers when it ran. When the train used to run through villages, the people used to stand on the platform, right? They were small kids, and what they used to do is they saw the bright light, and especially during the evening time, they saw the bright light of the train coming towards the station, and they just saw that, and they would get excited and they would run away, and they would just go back to their homes and said, hey, you know what, the steam engine that you've been talking about, it's just this bright light, right? And then there are people who stayed back on the platform, curious to know what is going on, where is this light coming from and all. Then they got an understanding, oh, this train is actually having several, it's got an engine, it's got a bogie, there are people inside that and all that stuff. So you're saying those are the different, similar to different realizations people have. The the Mayavadis, so to speak, have the Brahman realization, and that is the light thing that Prabhupada talks about. He says, oh, they just saw the light and they said, okay, the train is the light, right? So those who stayed back and they got a different view of the things. They saw the train, they saw the engine and things like that. That is a gradual, progressive realizations that people get. Another example that Prabhupada quotes in his lecture of how the inconceivable potency of the Lord. So you might have all heard of the pastime where there's a very nice interaction between Akbar and Birbal, where once Akbar is taunting Birbal, like, he said, you say your Supreme Lord is so, powerful, and he can sit somewhere and do this one, like, but why does he have to come to protect all his devotees and things like that, right? So then Birbal doesn't reply immediately. So he sets up a situation where he kind of arranges that, let's go on kind of a boat ride, and he also invites his son without the knowledge of Akbar himself. So they go in the middle of the lake, and at that time, somehow he has instructed the people around him to just throw this kid down. Like, one of his favorite prince, he'll be pushed into the water. Then all of a sudden they'll shout at, oh, the prince is drowning, the prince is drowning, right? Then you see that immediately the king Akbar, he's jumping into the water, right? Then after that, he's saved and he's back on the shore, and then Birbal is asking him, hey, you have the whole entourage of all of your people, right? You know they're very well capable, expert swimmers and all that stuff. They could have easily saved your son. Why did you jump yourself, right? And that's when it strikes to Akbar. He realizes that Birbal is trying to say the answer that he actually wanted to say. That Supreme Lord actually knows that there may be other people who may be able to help you out in ways that is good enough for you, but one who are very dear to him, Lord personally comes down through different means and ways, and then makes sure he protects his devotees, right? And then one last thing before we wind up, this was about the different potencies and things like that, and how the mundane speculation attitude that we carry can be very detrimental. So once there was a very, this is again quoted by Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Maharaj. So he says that in one of the cities in Bengal, there was a very rich man, but he was curious to know that, I want to worship, but I want to worship someone who is actually the very powerful person. Like, no, I want to worship that kind of person. So he goes to some Babaji there and he asks, whom should I worship? Okay. Then he's very learned scholar and a very nice saintly person. So he says, take this deity of Krishna. This is the person. He's the supreme Lord. Just worship him. Right. He takes the deity home. He says how to worship and all that. He's instructed him. So he offers a bhoga to the deity of Krishna. There, after he's offered the bhoga, and after some time he comes back. He sees that a rat is actually eating the offering. So he says, "Oh, you say this Krishna is supreme Lord, and this rat is able to steal his food. So maybe rat is the most powerful thing." So then he'll replace Krishna's deity with the rat's look-alike kind of deity. Okay, and start worshipping the rat. Then he sees that, okay, he's offering to rat, and then after some time the cat comes in and he catches that rat. So he says, "Oh, I thought rat is the most powerful. Then this cat is eating it. So maybe cat is the most powerful." Then similarly, that goes on, and then there's a dog that comes in. He chases the cat also. Then finally he sees that the dog is being beaten up by his wife one day. What the hell, you're putting this thing on the altar and all? Just take him out. So she chases the dog away, and then he says, "Okay, wife is the most powerful person, so I'll worship the wife." Then at some point he feels that there is some argument, and he's able to overpower his wife, and he yells at her and he kind of controls her. Then he says, "Oh, actually I am the most powerful person. I will worship myself." So he's saying that this is the kind state of jivatma, where if you land into mental speculation, you actually can go crazy. You can do whatever, and you can do all sorts of wrong things and comes to a wrong conclusion, and not know what is the supreme truth, right? So this is a beautiful example. So this is all I had in terms of this class. If anybody else has anything to share, please feel free to share. Any reflections, thoughts before we wind up?
Oh, I
Maybe.
like that story of that where he worships the rat and then the cat. That is so true. We all think at the end that we are doing everything, and how we get again bound to everything that we are not supposed to, and are stuck again.
It's back to square one.
Yeah, that's a great story.
All right.
Hare
This
Krishna,
is,
Prabhuji. Even
yeah.
I like that same story. And also, I really loved how you summarized all the mantras from beginning one to all of them, like what mantras are teaching what. I really like that, Prabhuji. What it means, like everything. The flow was really good, Prabhuji. Thank you for sharing all that. Very insightful.
Thank you. Any other points or reflections?
The pastimes were so good, Prabhuji.
All from Srila Prabhupada, his examples of them.
Yeah. Thank you.